Lacrosse Legends. Lacrosse Legends, a comprehensive look at America's greatest game, featuring legends past, present, and future. Today on Lacrosse Legends, we speak with Salsbury University greats Shaun and Lantz Carter.
Salsbury University is a public university in Salsbury on the eastern shore of Maryland. Salsbury is known for its undergraduate research and self-directed learning opportunities. Students in all majors and programs are encouraged by faculty mentors to take inspiration beyond the classroom. Salsbury University is also well known for the success of its athletic program, amassing 22 national championships in team sports and 24 individual national championships in track and field and wrestling. The men's lacrosse program has won 12 NCAA Division III titles, with an NCAA record of 69 consecutive wins from 2003 to 2006. Shaun and Lantz Carter played on the 2011 and 2012 championship teams. Lacrosse Legends met with the gentlemen and spoke about their experiences.
What got you guys started in lacrosse? What made you want to play lacrosse when you were younger?
I was born and raised in Queens. There wasn't a lot of lacrosse going on there. Once I moved to Long Island, that was the first time I was really exposed to it. Uniondale High School. It was just different than anything I've ever seen. So the meeting in sixth grade, you're not really allowed to play. Coach Delbert at the time, he was the coach. They had a lot of sticks. He had a couple sticks left over. He was kind of like, hey man, you can't play right now. Come back next year. Here's a stick though. Here's a couple balls. I just got better at it. I came back the next year. Played in seventh grade. I was the MVP. Seventh grade, JV, eighth grade. Once I got to high school, process was a little different.
You could say I was kind of born into the game of lacrosse. They used to joke and say I was given a stick right out the womb because of my family. My dad being one of the guys who played at Morgan State. For me, that was the first sport I ever played. Being around the older guys from Morgan State, Coach Donnie, Coach Merck, Coach White, when they used to have their alumni games and their summer league games, my dad used to take me out there to the games all the time. As early as I can remember, I was introduced to the game. That was the first real sport I started to play as a young kid.
After high school, I decided to go the JUCO route to Onondaga, which was up in Syracuse. Little did I know Monroe, Lantz was where I was up more. We were able to get introduced to one another through one of his teammates, Mark Dwyer. I knew Mark and I had heard of Lantz. And I already had this black slack shirt. He showed me a picture of Lantz. I happened to see that and I'm like, yo, I got that shirt. Like, that's wild. Who is that guy? And he was like, oh, it's Lantz. And, just history. His dad started Black Slacks. My dad, who was another big part of my backing in lacrosse, he gave me that shirt. So it was just kind of like, whoa. And then we were able to compete later in the season against each other as freshmen and then sophomores. That's my version. He might have a different version of how we cross paths.
Definitely, that's very true. One thing that I will always do playing in a game is whenever you play against another team, at least for me, you identify any other black players on the other team. When you get out there and you see a couple other black kids, you're like, who's that guy? First time we played Onondaga in my freshman year, there was Church and there was a couple other black players. So the guy he's talking about, Mark Dwyer, was actually my roommate my freshman year. He told me that he had met Church. We never officially met until our sophomore year after, I hate to say it, but Onondaga smashed us in the regional semifinals. They had a loaded team. They put us out the playoffs, and then after the game, it was just a mutual respect that we had for each other. I didn't know he had the black flag shirt until after the game. We just met in the parking lot. I asked him where he got the shirt from. He got it from his dad, who got it from Coach Donnie, who's a mentor of mine, who also introduced me to the game growing up from Baltimore. That's how we officially met in junior college.
Next on Lacrosse Legends. You're watching Lacrosse Legends.
You have the unique distinction of winning both a national championship
as a player and as a coach?
Just being a part of 3 teams I was able to play with, it was an amazing experience. I actually got humbled first before I was even ever able to win one at Onondaga. There's just, a rich tradition of doing that. They were all for 2. My class came in as freshmen and kind of got caught in the trap where we thought we were the guys who won that. We went home in the semifinals freshman year. We lost and we ruined this record of like 70 games in a row. Any tradition, old school tradition story you can think of, you don't want to be that team. We were that team. My friend Vinny Alexander called me at like 3 a.m. one day. Vinny was like, yo, bro, sophomore year, this can't happen. We got to make sure stuff is tight. We were able to have a loaded team. I played with the Thompsons, Shane Jackson, guys who were pros under that sophomore year. That was one. The other 2 I was able to be with Lantz and Sam Bradman and Parker Dickinson, who were 2 other just very good lacrosse players who were also African-American brothers. The other arsenal of the team was just amazing high character guys who me and Lantz were able to share that experience with. We went back to back with majority of the same guys. And then I got into coaching. I bounced around a little bit, had some highs and lows. I was at ASA as a head coach, really building that program up. They kind of cut the program before my 3rd year started. That's when my career was at a limbo, and I got hit with a decision, stop coaching or go back to my alma mater, Onondaga, work from the bottom again. I was a volunteer. I got the opportunity to coach a team that was just like how I was as a freshman, where they had just lost. They've broken this record. I got to come in as a coach now and help my coach a group like what he did for us. We were able to go undefeated and win a championship there. And then 3 months later, I've been here ever since. Monroe Community College, where Lantz
Where
went.
Coach Lantz went. Coach Lantz, yeah. It's funny how that works out, isn't it? Coach Lantz, could you tell us about your experience at Salsbury?
Definitely, man. For me, it was unbelievable experience. I wasn't originally supposed to go there. Actually, it's funny. Me and Church were supposed to go to New York Tech together. So that was the conversation we had in the parking lot. And then that summer, Coach Berkman was calling me, and I had went on a visit just to check the school out, even though I had already been verbally committed to New York Tech, got accepted, everything. The visit blew me away, and I was like, I want to come here, play for a championship, everything. Told Church that I'm not coming anymore. I'm going to Salisbury. He said he's going to go to New York Tech and stick it out. I got there my junior year. It was a humbling experience for me. Growing up in Baltimore, I was always one of the best players in the city, best players on my team. At junior college, I leading scorer 2 years in a row at Monroe. Then when I got to Salisbury, I got really humbled. Everybody there was really good. I wasn't ready yet. That first year, I had the redshirt. They lost in the national championship to Tufts. That was Tufts' first championship. Earlier in that year, Church reached out to me and like, hey man, New York Tech is not working out. How's Salisbury looking? And I told him, like, hey man, you need to come on down here because this is the place to be. So he transferred in. I got my act together, got my skills up, got my weight up, got my grades together. Junior year, I was humbled again. I got back on the team. I didn't play as much as I wanted to, but we still won a national championship. Learned what it was like to be a part of the team and not be the star of a team. I was on a winning team, and I learned how to play at a high level. I learned how to prepare every day, how to work hard every day, even when the credit's not given to you. It's a very humbling experience for me. And then that made me work extremely hard. We all knew that coming back senior year, nobody was going to beat us. We knew we were going to win again. I mean, that's just how loaded our team was. It was a couple spots open on that offense, and I knew that I had to seize that opportunity. So, I worked my tail off that summer. I got some great advice from Coach Berkman and told me things I had to work on. Church put me onto this book called Mind Gym by Gary Mack, and it's about athletic performance, mental performance for athletes. I read that book, and it changed my life that summer. Not only was I preparing physically, I started preparing mentally, how to become a better athlete. Came back the next year. I had an unbelievable senior season on what I consider the greatest team at Salisbury. Of course, I'm biased. We did just get voted team of the decade by SL Lacrosse, just a side note. I just came back, found my niche on a great team, won a championship. But besides the championship, the experiences I had, the relationships I built, those are some lifelong friends. I was able to move out to LA with one of my teammates and coach out there for 4 years. I had a great coaching career out there. I helped build a program and had that experience, but that all came from my relationships at Salisbury. My time there, it was unbelievable. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of highs and lows, both on and off the field. That experience, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was one of the best decisions I made in my life.
Next on Lacrosse Legends. You're watching Lacrosse Legends.
see the future for minorities going in this game?
The amount of minorities playing will continue to grow. The level that they're playing at is going to grow. Here in the Rochester area, I'm always running into brothers on the circuit, and I see that number growing. The amount of dads that I'm doing the universal head nods, and the amount of young men that I'm seeing share the same skin complexion as me, the number's definitely growing from when I played to even started coaching.
Coach Carter, how about in the Baltimore area?
It's been great. I think Baltimore is unique. The game has always been big in the inner city. I grew up playing with black players. I played on mostly all black teams growing up. I didn't play in predominantly white teams until I got to college. The game, as far as minorities in Baltimore, it's great. Talent-wise, it's kind of came down a little bit because the coaching is not as great as when we were coming up, and there's not as many guys giving back to the game as when we were coming up. Yeah, my dad, Coach Donnie, Shaun, Roy Castor, Coach Mert, a whole bunch of guys who came from that era, that Morgan State era. Once they got old enough, they gave back to the game. And then they kind of dropped off a little bit in like the last 7 years. So the talent pool is not as big. But as far as minorities playing the game here in Baltimore, that's never been a problem. The biggest thing for us here is about getting these kids to really lock into the game and really seize the opportunity to play at the next level and really see that guys before you that has done it and got to the next level, and you just got to follow that pathway. So that's the biggest challenge we're dealing with here in Baltimore, is getting them to lock into that level.
Some of our students don't have the grades that they require to be in these Division I colleges. You could go to a junior college, get your education, get a degree, go to the next level.
Most definitely, I think this process, it's important to have, and it's important to keep it. We've had years where we've had an abundance more schools that are a part of the National Junior College Association, JUCO as we call it, NJCAA. The amount of team has kind of trickled off, and that's just been because of the amount of kids you're allowed to go after and recruit. I feel that this process is very important. It's good to have this option because, one, it's for kids who may not be academically as savvy. It does allow them 2 more years to learn a little more discipline, a little more structure as far as on the schooling side. On the field, say you're just not really there yet skill-wise, but you're a pretty good student, it gives you an option as far as bettering your on-field play, getting more reps, opposed to going to a 4-year where you may sit. So a lot of kids, they come to a JUCO because they're allowed to get playing time right away. I can better my skills. I can springboard and get better looks than maybe what I had. Financially, sometimes it's smarter play to stay locally where you are, really work your behind off and get a D1 or a D2 look where you can get some sort of athletic funding on top of academic funding. You would have the Division III look where you're solely basing it off of academics where you'll at least get a starting point. The rest is on however you figure it out. The D1, D2 route is what a lot of kids usually trickle into and get. I like the option. The image out there is that you shouldn't really go junior college if you don't need to. A lot more kids should, and it would be a more competitive league, and I think it would do a lot of kids better than sitting a year or two. You can get the same credits, you're going to get the same schooling. For a lot of kids, it's just the image.
Junior college pretty much saved me. I was that kid who didn't have great grades, didn't have a lot of looks playing in Baltimore City. For me, it was just another opportunity, one, to play at the collegiate level, and 2, to, like Church said, get recruited again. Every kid loves to be recruited. Every kid loves to feel like they're playing for a look. It gives you that energy and that motivation to stay on your grind. If you have the grades to go for your school, obviously go. You know, if you have the grades, you have the funding and things like that. But I don't think JUCO is a bad thing. As far as academically, get you more prepared to go to maybe a bigger college or university. Smaller classes, more intimate with the teachers, get the extra help that you may need, helps you prepare. But when you do get to the next collegiate level, you already got those college credits under your belt. I think junior college is a great option for a lot of players.
Has coaching the student athlete changed?
Yeah, for sure. Their attention span goes quicker than ever. But I think also, too, the sensitivity of certain kids. Whether it was right or wrong coming up, we had coaches who were way harder on us than we could be on these kids. You had to be more tough mentally. I don't want to sound old, but in our era growing up, these kids, you have to, I don't want to say coddle them, but have to be careful of what you say and how you say it. And it's not a bad thing, but you just got to learn how to adjust, and you got to coach kids differently than maybe you came up. It's just a different way. Kids are definitely a little bit more softer than coming up, but it's not a problem coaching them. You just got to adjust, and you got to find ways that it's going to click for them. You may have to use technology or social media. You just got to find different ways to relate to them to get them motivated. All really good coaches.
The patience in it and trust in the journey. A lot of kids think it's going to happen instantly. So when it doesn't happen right away, they just give up on it. I'm not really going to show a lot of intention, and or I'm not going to give my full all-on-out effort when I'm doing mud walker training a lot. Some kids, if they might not get the feet working right away, they may just jog through it, but they don't understand that's worse. Go through it full speed. If you kick a hurdle over or whatever the case may be, we can fix that. Going through it slow, you're really just now stopping all the progression we're trying to make. Just them thinking everything is going to happen so instantly. The next thing is just big sense of entitlement. A lot of kids in this new era, if they get on a certain team, or if I'm going to this team, I think they have their vision of what they think it's going to be. And they don't know that the coach is the one that dictates that. When I played, I was full of that, a sense of entitlement, thinking because I was coming from JUCO, I was just going to play at Salsbury. It's not like that. I think definitely a sense of entitlement in how much am I going to play, or why am I playing this position, or why am I not here or there. I would say those are the two biggest things I see.
Coach Carter, you're from Baltimore. Your dad played with the historic Morgan State team. Do you see Morgan State's program coming back?
That's been a question that's been in the air for the last, probably since I was born. I think it would be great. Morgan should have been Hampton. All the publicity that Hampton got, it should have been Morgan, and it would have been times two because they already had a history. I think they should do it. Do I see it happening anytime soon? Honestly, I don't. They have their own situation on funding the program and the importance of having lacrosse as a HBCU. It'll help if Hampton gets to a higher level in the next 5 years or so. Right. And maybe it will be a resurgence. It will be a no-brainer for them. They have a big talent pool right here in Baltimore, New York, right up the street. Morgan is known as one of the prestigious HBCUs. They already have the lacrosse history. Should they do it? Absolutely. Do I see it, honestly, in the near future? I don't. After I finished at Salsbury, I was still playing. I was chasing a pro dream. I had played professional box indoor for the Boston Rockhoppers, and then I was trying to play professional outdoor. I had ended up playing on the LXM Pro Tour when I had moved out to Cali. It was a good experience for me, playing against some of the best players in the world, Kyle Harrison, the Bratton brothers, playing with Sam Bradman, Eric Crum, who I played with at Salisbury, Johnny Christmas played, Billy Bitter. There's a lot of great talent there. I didn't perform as well as I wanted to. I was still trying to pursue that pro dream, but living on the West Coast, the MLL was on the East Coast. I was really getting into the coaching realm. I was growing up youth program, Santa Monica Dragons. And I was full-time with it. I was training kids out there. I wasn't getting any benefit from chasing professional lacrosse no more. I saw the benefit of me becoming a great coach, a great trainer. I made the decision that it was time to go all in and be a coach. I just let the pro dreams die, go on the Santa Monica Dragons program out on the West Coast. And I did that for about 4 years. I decided to move back to Baltimore. Once I got back to Baltimore, I saw where the game was in my city. The vision of Baltimore Lacrosse Elite came to me. Elite training and elite coaching at a higher level. I felt like that was my lane. That was something that I always wanted to do and give back to the city. Felt that now was the right time to step out and do my own thing. I created BLE, Baltimore Lacrosse Elite, not only to give back to my city and advance the game, start my own entrepreneurial business in the game of lacrosse. We're always seen as players, we're seen left as coaches in the game, but we really are not seen as quote-unquote business owners or entrepreneurs in the game of lacrosse. Saw that lane, and why not do it in my own city?
Well done. Coach Church?
Me and Lantz went to a tryout together. He made the Boston Rockhoppers. Right after college, I started coaching right away. I went to Eastern University in St. David, PA. I started my grad degree in business, getting my MBA. A rival school in the conference, King's College, bumped into the coach over the summer, Andy Orlowski, and he was looking for a guy, an offensive coordinator, which I wanted to coach. And that decision was important to me because at Salisbury, I played D-Midi. So I gave up kind of pursuing my offensive side. So a lot of people see me as a D-Midi because I really put a lot of my ego aside at Salisbury. It's hard. Never would I ever really tell anybody how I really felt about it at all. It was important for me to get that offer. Yeah, I want to coach offense because I'm tired of people thinking African Americans don't know anything about offense. They can't do nothing with offense. Like, we only know stuff about defense. I'm going to go coach this team that has the worst offense in the league, and I'm going to go put all my time and coach them. We were able to have a very good season. We went 500, subpar average in the region. We bumped up to about 4th, lost in the semis. And our offense, though, was 2nd in the region, which to me that year was like, our offense went from last to that next year, me being there 2nd. Boom, amount of goals we had, assists. And I got the chance to go to ASA and go coach. I had to give up my playing dream real early. Once Rhode Island was done, I was already at Eastern. I talked to Lantz. He was like, bro, your career is set. What are you talking about? Play pro? You're right. And I got to go home and coach at ASA. I was able to do something there special for 2 years. For me, it's been coaching. And I came up with the Mud Academy, which is now the Mud Walkers, which is my company. We deal with speed and agility training, reaction training, footwork training, and we tie in lacrosse. We're not looked at as being able to have businesses. My drills are my drills. You look at my Instagram, you can see the elevation of my drills. I'm fine with being able to play with the Virgin Island men's team. I'll play with the brothers if we can link up, Syncopa 3.0 team. But the pros is just not really there yet. That's a real big onus to put on your body, and you're not really getting paid nowhere near what you should be. I'd rather take the knowledge I know and grow my own business and let that manifest to something bigger.
The pinnacle of lacrosse has always been the college game, Division I, Division II, Division III. When we was coming up, it was always about playing at a high level in college and winning a college championship. Nobody ever dreamed about playing in the pros. It might be a little different now because they have the PLL, MLL, NLL. The future of the game is becoming more mainstream, getting more athletes in the game. A lot of those athletes are coming from the inner city. You look at the NFL and the NBA, and those sports, they became big because they became huge in the inner city. Inner city culture is infused in that game, and that's made those games big time, not only in the US, but more global. So hopefully the game of lacrosse gets away from the stereotype of it being a rich white man sport to being a more inclusive culture. Run the game in the inner city, making it a cooler game to play. It'll definitely make the game bigger. So that's what I'm hoping for the future of the game.
Well said, Coach. Well said.
Yes, sir.
Coach Church.
People will start diving into other professional areas in lacrosse: wellness, business owner, apparel and media, engineering, making the equipment. I've saw like 5 different virtual work at home companies looking on my Instagram before the meeting. People are already learning different ways to just make more money off of the game. As far as anything else that everybody knows are big elephants in the room problems, none of that stuff is going to get fixed anytime soon. As long as people don't continue to try to chase that, what they think, the bag. We got to want to work on systemic stuff and structure things. We got to get things for us and not give it all away or get under stuff. I personally think more business type things will happen before any other surgence of all these African-American players or surgence of all these African-American coaches. I just think more people are just going to get savvy to the money you can make using lacrosse.
Coach Carter, tell us a little bit more about Baltimore Lacrosse Elite.
Baltimore Lacrosse Elite is a program based out of Baltimore City. We do a lot of elite training. We have elite coaching. We are a minority-based organization. We have a lot of different cultures, a lot of different races in our program. We're here to push kids to get to the next level and bring a little bit of culture to the game of lacrosse.
Relax is a travel team in Rochester. It's offered to kids throughout the upstate New York area. We have teams from the highest class of 2022s right now, 2021s, all the way down to the lowest class of 2030s. We have a brother program in Florida. We have Sweet Lax upstate and then Sweet Lax, Florida. About to go play some lacrosse. The growth of the international side, it's going to catch up. They're putting funding into it, and they run their set of athletics totally different in other countries. They can actually set up academies. You'll see the international side really getting better fast. And I think that's when I'm going to be like, peace, everybody. That comes to me a combo.
Right.
Wow.
Coach Church, please tell us more about the Virgin Islands.
This is one of the helmets that we'll be wearing for the Virgin Islands men's team competing this summer in the exhibition tournament to get ready for international play, representing St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and the descendants who now live in America. A rather cool experience to get involved in international play. The Team Jamaica I coached for a little bit, so now to actually be able to play representing some of my family's heritage. Another area a lot of guys might want to research in. What's your background? Your career may not per se need to be over yet.
Wow, nice.
Coach Carter, any thoughts on the international game?
That's just going to help with the growth of the game of lacrosse. More countries playing the game at a high level. You'll see it more in the World Games and the Olympics. It gives more opportunity for minority coaches to be able to give back to the game and coach some of these other countries who are looking for that knowledge and experience. It's only going to help with the expansion of the game of lacrosse.
One last question for both of you. Coach Carter, you first. Field lacrosse or box lacrosse?
Field lacrosse all day. I was lucky enough to have the experience to play box lacrosse. I think the box lacrosse is unique. I think it's a great game, but it's nothing like space and opportunity in field lacrosse. Me, I'm field lacrosse all day.
Coach Church?
Field lacrosse, need that speed, need the space.
Nice.
And that's coming from a man from Rochester, huh? I thought everybody upstate liked box lacrosse. Coach Church, I started my career in radio years ago. I worked at Power 99 in Philadelphia, and the morning show host was Carter and Sanborn, Coach Carter's uncle. So it's weird how this game brings us together.
Yeah.
Meant to be. The medicine is meant to be.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, I'm proud of you. And Lacrosse Legends will keep in touch and keep updates on what's going on with both of you.
Yeah, great job, fellas. Thank
Best
you.
of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Always. Peace.
Peace out, brother.
On behalf of Seth Tanner and Bernard Williams, this is Monsanto Music
Real,
for
you're gonna
Lacrosse
stand
Legends.
still to obey your case, so let the man build. Words of rapture that you have to capture. And I just slapped ya with a handful of literature. This dope, deaf, fresh, hype, choice, smooth and raw. Rappers I replace, rub out and erase. Competition, you must be on freebase, smoking or joking, bound to be broken. Now get your damn hands off the mic that I'm choking. Cause I got a stranglehold. You're still cold on parole for the role you stole. Rhymes that you yell out, but you did sell out. Crossed over, lost over here, now get the hell out. I'm not a pop star, rock and roller. I'm a rebel, blessed, able to hold a mic like a hammer and drop grammar, treat a rapper like a wrestler and body slam them. Those who dispute get treated just like a prostitute. They get the boot and blade like a flute, so just play mute. Don't even whisper, open your mouth to speak and I'ma dish your ragtag and dog. Put you in the morgue because you're petty confetti and not ready to rock steady. In other words, you're half-stepping, tiptoeing, get going. Because my weapon is not a 9, a Uzi or a shotgun. But when it comes to hype rhymes, I got one. Just like the album is still the same. Long live the cane, ain't a damn thing changed. I still get ill and kill at will and build the skill to fill your grill. So don't tell me you're real. We sample beats, you sue and try to fight us. Man, you still be home with arthritis. If we didn't revive and bring back alive old beats that we appreciated, you wouldn't survive. You'd be another memory to us. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. So understand the way that I live, that's positive. And the message I got to give is a benefit for you and me. I'm talking about P-E-A-C-E. The chosen one that has turned the new leaf. I got gold teeth and they don't chew beef. No pork on my fork, strictly fish on my dish. The cane fallen victim, sucker you wish. I flow like water, slaughter, put you out of order. Floored ya. Rappers are ragging and tagging and snagging and bragging to be on the bandwagon, but I'm the last dragon with the knack to attract the pack. So just get back. I'm young, gifted, and black. And just go with the flow, you know, in the place to be.